Hey, this is Dustin Hamilton of Handheld Legend. Big thanks to Matt Whitehead over at Jelly Belly Customs for kicking off the week of Game Gears. And I was just doing another video that'll be coming up, and I was like, I should do a Game Gear video. This is the first one I've ever done. One of the things that I think both Matt and I get a lot of questions on are the recapping these, so like replacing the capacitors. So I figured what I'd do here is actually this is a dead Game Boy, or not Game Boy, Game Gear, and what I'm gonna do is I've already got this like all screwed apart. You can see where these took like a massive 6 batteries and chewed through them in a few hours. And this is what the motherboard looks like underneath. In the top, you've got actually this is the power board, and then this is the audio board, and there's some connections here that go to those. But one of the first things you want to do here is you look at this, and let me lay this flat a little bit like that. And you can see here, right here, IC, I can only assume is integrated circuit, GG, Game Gear, main is the main board, USA. I would imagine the USA model, and VA1. VA1's the important part here. So like if you were going to redo the capacitors on this, you would want to get a capacitor kit. We have them for the VA1 motherboard. It's by far the most common. I somehow ended up with like 3 or 4 VA4s lately, but those are far less common. But anyways, that's kind of like the first thing you want to do is looking at these. But when we've got this laid out flat here, you can see this big tube right here is a fluorescent light. And what that is that's actually your backlight. It consumes a lot of power and goes through the LCD here. Over here, there's a few of the capacitors that have to do with the display. So sometimes when I'm doing the capacitors on these, what I'll do is I'll replace these first and just like try it again and see if I've already fixed the display issues. Sometimes I already have, but I'm not going to stop there. I need to replace all the capacitors. The only weird thing is when you start doing those on these, oh my gosh, like some of these solder points have the weirdest, just like fish smell. I don't even know how to explain it, and I don't even know why it happened. Matt over at Jelly Belly Customs warned me about it when I first started working on these. Oh man, nothing prepares you for that smell. So what I wanted to do here is, and it looks like these can be seen reasonably well, is one of the questions we get is how to read these. So the negative on these and on the capacitor themselves is always going to be like the colored part, the white part. And I'll give you some indications on what you're reading here. So this one right here has the number 100 at the top. That means this is like 100 microfarad with regards to the capacitance. And right down here, the 4V, that means it's 4 volts. So that's what that is meaning. This one here, for example, is 68 microfarad and 6.3 volts. Now, the only ones that you start getting into kind of obscurity on are like here, right here. This one says R4750V, and this is actually, I just know this from working on these. These are a 0.47 microfarad, 60 volt. They're kind of like a smaller one that come into the kits. But those are the only ones that are kind of labeled a little bit funky that you don't really know offhand what they're doing. Some of the other stuff that you might see is, I've seen this quite a bit here, this like yellowing kind of like area right there. That's actually an adhesive, and I think it's just meant to keep the capacitor down, but somehow it gets a bit extra. Don't worry about it. It's actually really, I don't know, it's almost like a gel. And what you can do is just like use a, like some not pliers, but like needle nose pliers. And you can literally just like carefully pull it off. It's not going to hurt anything underneath. But this is really like the side that you work with. So if you're going to redo the capacitors on one of these, this is what you're going to be looking at. That's how to read the values. You've got the VA1, so you know what kit to get for this. And like I said, we've got these kits. If you've got like a VA3, VA4, or if it says something else and doesn't even have a VA, I would recommend going over to our partners at Console 5, and they're going to have a broader variety of the kits for the lesser known models. But that's it. This has just been a quick look at the inside of a Game Gear and what you're looking at with regards to values and some of the parts. See ya.